How are we feeling today, Aline? How are we feeling, man?
Mixed emotions,
Yeah,
anger
yeah,
that we're up 3-1, but also disappointment as well. Um,
a lot of mixed emotions for sure.
yeah, that was emotional.
Yep.
If we play like that, we're not gonna get very far. We need
Yep.
to. The third period was good, but yeah, I don't know. Like again, Skinner had to come up huge,
In the
especially in the
first.
first,
Yeah, yeah.
right? I will say though, pretty opportunistic. We got power play was 2 for 2 until the end there when it looked like we were trying to kill off that penalty as
Mhm.
opposed to like trying to score. Can we win a face-off though? Like seriously, jeez,
Oh,
insane. I
Leon
mean,
keeps getting waved out of the face-off dot, right? Like the guy
yeah.
can't for the life of him
I
stay
mean,
there.
speaking of Leon, he won a key one to make it 3-1. I mean, what a stupid move by the coach there. DeBoer
Yep.
didn't have Heiskanen on there,
Yep.
and he had Matt Duchene sitting on the line, and he didn't even recognize um, what's his name, Kapanen going. I don't know. That was just hilarious. I felt like that was a bonehead move. But yeah, back to what we were talking about all over the place here to start this one. Um, Face-offs, like what is going on? 37 or 38% last night. What are we for the series?
Yeah, it's been tough. I mean, I don't know what the numbers were on the Dallas Stars before, but I know that they've got a couple of players that are really good. Namely, Duchesne is seems like he's winning a lot of the face-offs when he's on the dot. As a team, they're not bad. Even Ben coming in, I've seen him. He hovers
Yeah,
over the.
Leon said this, and I noticed this as well. They have a lot of lefty righty righty lefties, and in certain instances, um, the righty lefty matchup, there's a big advantage for the righty, um, depending on where the faceoffs are and whatnot.
Mhm.
We just everybody that's taken draws for us is left-handed, and sometimes
Yeah,
that's a disadvantage, right? Um, Talk about Noah Felp maybe coming in. I'm not sure who started that rumor, but saw it around a little bit this morning.
yeah.
But
I remember him coming in. I mean, during the regular season when he was playing hungry, man. I'm
but we
all for
lost.
bringing one of those guys in.
We've lost two wingers though.
I
So
know, I know.
does bringing in a center make sense? I mean, like really, a lot of these guys can play all positions, right? I think
Yeah,
that's one of the versatility. Like Janmark, for instance, can move over
for
probably,
sure he
right? He
can.
could play all, yeah.
That's
Um,
the easiest move to make, right? For Jans to go off to the wing and open up a spot for Phelps, or even Henry can play the wing, right? Like
yeah, and he
it's
can
not a
play the
problem
wing.
for him to go out on the wing and
And
let
it's not
somebody
like
who's an
Henry
extra center.
can spin lights out in the faceoff circle either, right?
Exactly, and he's not getting a crap load of minutes, right? So, I mean,
Yeah.
I'm okay with that. But I think we're like you said, we're all over the place here with replacement of the wingers that are out. I think Brown will be back at the earliest next Monday if he's in the concussion protocol,
Yep.
right?
Seems like he's in protocol. At least he's okay. But Zachary Martin Hyman,
He's done.
he's done.
I knew the second that dude Marchman flew by him, and when I saw his react, I knew it was bad because Hyman's not a guy to stay down or to run off to the dressing room unless he's really hurt. And the way his
Well,
shoulder dropped, I was like, he's dying.
we've seen him. I was holding out hope because we've seen him, keel over, leave, and come back, and he's fine.
Yeah,
There's a few times last year in the run where we thought he was done, and he came back. But yeah, watching that whole sequence, I think he even screamed. I think you could hear him scream.
I did,
Um,
which was really difficult to kind of hear because you knew that it was serious right off
yeah,
the bat.
yeah.
I, they're not saying much about his injury, obviously for obvious reasons. Mainly,
We
like we
we can
saw what
speculate
Bouchard
when
did
we
too.
do.
What
We know it's
Bouchard did
upper
too.
body. I think
Yeah,
you were
yeah.
saying you think it's a wrist. I was thinking more shoulder.
You may
Um,
be right. You may be right because I saw a picture of him in the hospital, and he had both hands up, both thumbs up. If it's a wrist, he's not doing that. So
yeah,
it has
that's
to be the
true.
shoulder, right? Has to be
That's
the
true.
shoulder.
What's crazy, super, super crazy, I was listening to Dustin Nielsen this morning, and right before all the interviews happened and whatnot, I guess somebody texted him, and they were making fun of it, actually. They said that someone's brother's friend's dad is going to be operating on his wrist this morning, and he's out for the season. And they were laughing about it, but literally 2 hours later, that's what they were saying is, he's going to have surgery, but they didn't say what. So
Yeah.
that guy, though, apparently on that text, it said wrist. So who knows?
Yeah, yeah. Well,
Bottom
whatever it
line is
is,
he's
let's not know about it. I mean, doesn't not that it matters. He's done for the year, and hopefully by spring by fall training camp, he's back and he's good health and is able
hopefully,
to.
and
Yeah,
hopefully Evan doesn't go over to him and like slash him on his arm.
you never know. Just to send a message.
Send a message in training
That was
camp.
priceless, dude. I can't remember laughing so hard at something. it was comical to me, and I see all kinds of opinions about that, but that was
When
beautiful. New respect for Bush for doing that, you know?
first of all, no one picked it up. They had to show it to us in the intermission. We never saw it, but I couldn't stop watching it. And it was, of all people, it was Bouchard. Like you'd expect Corey Perry, maybe Kane, but it's
Frederick,
Evan
somebody,
Bouchard. And not only that, he's chasing him down. He's skating to try
and
to
he's
get
got the stick up as he's going
him.
towards.
And he's looking at him. It was
That was
really
awesome.
funny.
That was freaking awesome. Good for him, man. That's beautiful. I gotta say, what we're talking a lot about all these different players who contributed, like namely, like I mean, no need to say, Nuge has been huge. He's been a one man wrecking ball out there. Hyman was up until he was injured, hitting and everything else. But I think quietly for me, this is difficult for me to say, Aline, because I've been critical of our buddy Bouchard here, but he's
Yeah.
quietly like making a case for like equally being as important. His defensive play's been amazing. He's still contributing offensively. Last night he didn't do anything offensively, but he played solid D, man, and he
Well, he,
whacked
he
Hanks, which was awesome.
he didn't get any points, but I thought he was instrumental
Yeah,
offensively. There was a few sequences that he helped get momentum back.
that's
Um,
right. Yeah,
what, what you absolutely love about him is he doesn't throw pucks away, right? But then
that's right.
sometimes that drives you insane because the odd time it gets coughed up and whatnot. Thankfully, though, it's less and less frequent. In the
That's right.
regular season, I think we saw a lot of it. Um, yeah, I think he's been great. I've always liked him, but yeah, he gives me fits, right?
I'm just wondering, is he always capable of playing at that level and just doesn't do it? Because he does it in the playoffs. He did it last year too. Like he somehow
Yeah.
elevates his play significantly. There's no defensive gaffes. He's still contributing at a really high offensive clip. I mean, second all time to Bobby Orr, for heaven's sake. So
Well,
this guy can't
there's
he can't play
there's
like this.
there's a lot of people are Oiler fans that say he's overrated and he's getting padded
No,
because he's
no, no.
playing with Draisaitl and
Yeah,
McDavid. But you know what? He's the one making those decisions. He's the
right.
one pulling the puck and putting it on their sticks, right?
Yeah, yeah.
I don't think he's overrated. I think he's offensively he's got a great mind, great hockey sense. And I was watching him a little bit closer on the penalty kill, and even just defensively, he'll disengage and he'll like look around and he'll see there's an open guy and he'll just put a stick there and he'll get ready to, he just thinks the game really well.
That's right.
And I think Coffey's really helped. But also another thing is confidence, right?
Yeah.
Um, I think having a guy like Klingberg come in, he's done it so
Wow.
much.
Wow.
I
Yeah.
don't know if you noticed, but quietly with Klingberg coming in, his game sort of stabilized and stuff, right? Like game
Yep.
one versus LA was
Yep.
a roller coaster. Game two is pretty shaky as well. But then all of a sudden he started to like solidify a little bit, right?
That's right.
And
Yeah, you just need a
I
player
don't
who
know if
can read how
that's a
you're moving.
coincidence.
Yeah, yeah, you're absolutely right. Right. I mean, that's what he was doing with Ekholm, playing amazing with Ekholm, and every time he was put together with Nurse, it was a disaster. So I think he just needs a player that can read how he operates, and I think that Klingberg's done that really
Well, I
well.
mean, he's playing with Kulak mostly,
Oh,
but I
Kulak,
think
rather. So
I
sorry.
think
Yeah, Kulak.
having Klingberg in the lineup though has made a
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
difference.
yeah.
But with Nuge, I think a lot of it is confidence right now. He's playing at such a like all of our guys. We're making like reads and we're taking the shot. There
That's
isn't
right.
hesitation, and I think that is when you're going, the confidence levels are high, and
Yeah,
confidence has a lot to do with it. It's
yeah.
it's it's crazy. These guys are pros, but it's just as important as this level as Bantam, right?
We spoke about this before. We talked about how having your goalie play solid really affects the way the team in front of you plays, right? And having our defensive, I think we have one of the best defensive. We just talked about Bouchard. We talked about Klingberg being a revelation, and Kulak playing well above his pay grade, in my
Yeah,
opinion.
always.
He's
I
one of
mean,
the
ever
best,
since
if
he's
not the
been here,
best.
every playoff run, he stepped it
Totally.
up. Ever
And
since he's been here,
Stetcher, I mean,
yeah,
I gotta
Stetcher's
throw a
doing
shout
well.
out to Stetcher. He's been playing amazing. The guy was, he's on and off, in and out of the lineup. He comes in and he's been filling in like he hasn't missed a beat.
He
And
played well.
all
I
that
don't even
does is
remember the other guy. Tyler, Taylor. No, I'm just kidding. Emerson, right? We forgot all
they
about
did get
him.
his name wrong. I know they got his name wrong. But at the end of the day, the forwards are feeding off of how well the defense is playing, and they are contributing. I've never seen Dre and McDavid come back so deep consistently. They're at
Yeah.
both ends, man. It's great to see. But this is a different team, man. I mean, what we watched throughout the year, like you said, if you've taken out a couple of really good periods where they had like 6 or 7 winning streaks, they were basically a 500 team for big stretches of the regular season.
Yeah, we talked
And
about that at the start of the playoffs, right?
that's
That
right.
was
That's right.
super concerning.
Yeah,
And
and
then
they
we
come in
rolled
and now they're
in.
kicking everybody's butt like it's nobody's business, right?
Well, I think you know, you were talking earlier about Bouchard and whether or not he's able to sustain that level of play all year long. I feel like for this team, um, they went through such an emotional roller coaster last year, almost winning the cup, that I feel like everybody was just like, okay, we just need to get back here,
Right.
and that was the focus. So they were just trying to do whatever they can, and I think you know they made the right call, obviously. Um, After the Four Nations, when they realized, okay, look, we're not catching the division guys here. Let's rest up. Let's get ready for the playoffs.
That's right.
We just got to get in. You know, finish third if we need to. If we get home ice, great. Whatever.
Yeah.
If we're not
Yeah.
going to catch Vegas, there's no point.
Yeah.
And then we did it. And in hindsight, that shot that was
Mhm.
called was a good call.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, you know, I think somebody else tweeted this after the game, talking about basically Oilers gave up Holloway and Broberg for Wallman, Kapanen, Frederick, and there's one more piece. I can't remember what it was. Was it Paul Colson, right?
Got Colson.
So
Yeah.
yeah. So
Love
would
that
you?
guy.
And I guess you could throw Emerson in there as well. So two
Right.
five.
Yeah.
Would you
Yeah.
make that deal? Um, I
I think
I
I
don't know.
would.
I mean, right now I definitely would. Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think Wallman. He's honest to God, I hadn't heard much about him until we got him. Um, Quietly, he was a pretty solid puck moving defenseman. One of those. I mean, some people like to compare him to Johnny Oduya. I kind of feel like he's a little bit more of a name brand than Johnny Oduya was when he went to Chicago. But
Yep.
um, I don't know, man. Like I feel like looking at it, like yeah, you probably would make that deal, right? All
Oh, yeah.
those guys have
Yeah. Yeah.
contributed. Like after Hyman went down yesterday, Podkolzin seemed like he took it up on himself to go in and become a force, and he started to like go in and bash people, and you know he's
His
pulling hair.
confidence is like sky high. Confidence is sky high.
Yeah, I mean, I think playing with Leon
Yeah.
has really helped. Leon loves the crazy part about all this is Leon loves playing with those two guys. He
Yeah. Yeah.
loves the way Kapanen skates, and he loves the way that Podkolzin plays. They're just hard on the puck, and he loves it, right?
I don't want to dog on Vancouver, but Colson, I always thought, even watching him in junior, when he was playing in junior, he had a heavy shot, he had a big frame, and he hit guys.
Yeah,
And I recall when the Canucks took him, I was like, man, they got a solid player here,
yeah.
but he
I don't
never
know what
was given
happened
a
to him.
chance. They never
I
gave him
don't.
a chance. They would give him like sporadic chances. I not saying that the Oilers are not guilty of doing that. We've done that with several players ourselves, but I think he's just in Vancouver. He didn't get that opportunity he needed to get. Right?
Well, you know our track record with Russians, so I was feeling, oh my god, another Russian, right? But so far he's done well. Um, I remember when that trade happened, a Canuck friend of mine, Canuck fan friend, messaged me. I messaged him actually, and he's like, "Dude, what the hell? Like, how did you
I
guys
was
get
so
this?"
happy. Yeah,
He
I
was
was so
so
happy.
angry. I was so happy when we got him too. I was like, "Whoa, ho, ho, this
Yeah,
is
yeah,
good." And everyone's
yeah,
like,
yeah,
"No, Holloway's way better. Holloway, you know this and that." And I'm like, you know what? This, if we decide not to sign Holloway, this is good.
yeah,
He'll fit in, and
yeah.
people didn't think he would. Obviously, the numbers aren't there. Holloway had everything. I feel like fit for the team, and I mean, Draisaitl had an MVP year, right? And
Yeah,
was playing for most of the season.
there's no saying where Hollywood would have played had he stayed with the team, but I think so. We didn't really trade those two players for the haul we got. Obviously, we gave up crap load of draft picks. Number one went to San Jose for Wallman, and I can't even
But
remember what we gave up.
I think I think one of the picks, then the pick for Broberg went to San Jose or something, one of those,
Yeah,
and then they gave up both picks they got for both of those guys. One went to Boston, one went to St. Louis, I think. But
mm,
yeah, we did give up another draft pick
yeah,
to San Jose as well.
yeah.
The funny part about all of that was Bowman apparently was hounding Mike Greer all year long.
That's right. I heard
Hey,
that.
can you
Yeah,
give
yeah,
us
yeah.
Bowman? And he's like, no, leave me alone. And he just kept hounding him and hounding him, and he's like, fine, okay, we'll make a
Yeah,
deal.
yeah,
Yeah,
he
my
was.
face.
He actually said
And
that
always
in the after hours. After one of the games, I was watching the
yeah,
after hours. He brought that up,
yeah,
and he actually mentioned that he's like, "I've been hounding Greer on this, and until we finally told him like we'll give you a number one, he's like, okay." But I think honestly, for what Wallman's done, especially with Ekholm's absence, has been amazing. He's filled in
yeah.
admirably. I know the media over the last couple of days have been saying, "Don't really need Ekholm right now. Kind of let him rest." Which is great. I think we can afford that because we have guys like Wallman and Stetcher really stepped it up. I've always liked Stetcher, by the way. I've liked him since the Canuck days. I thought he was really good. I don't know
Yeah.
why he's bounced around. I think there's a little bit of a
Size.
size thing, which the league is still not getting past. I know you need. Who said that? trees in the back end. It was one of the GMs that said
Well,
you need trees
I'm
in the
glad.
back end.
I mean, last night I think were they talking about this? I think the coach mentioned this, right? Or no, Jeff Jackson was on pregame yesterday, and he
Already, yeah.
mentioned he's like Bowman had this vision where he's like, we don't need trees, we need puck movers to get them out. And I remember you and I had this argument, and you were like, no, we need like a Zadorov. I'm like, no, man, we need to go out and get some skill, move the puck out. I'm glad
Yeah,
he
yeah,
listened to me. Obviously, he didn't listen to me, but I'm glad that he felt the same way because
yeah, yeah.
I felt like just the makeup of this team, um, we need faster puck movement to get out of the zone, right?
For sure we do. And I think, the
That said,
matchups that we've
though,
had,
that said though, everybody has done a fantastic job on the back end defending.
they
But yeah,
have.
go on, go
What I
on.
was saying is that our matchup so far with the teams we faced, if you look at their forward, their forwards, uh, there's a reason, a few years back when Ben was in his prime, like they had their way with the oil. Like, I mean, he was an oil killer, like I said before. But it's that the game has moved towards more skill, obviously, over the years. There are some big forwards out there, but it's mostly skill. I see these guys in the locker room. I remember back in the 80s and 90s when you saw guys without their equipment in the locker room, they were freaking giants. And you see
Mm.
McDavid now in the locker room without his equipment on, and you're like, damn, does he take a beating with that frame?
Where's the rest of you? Yeah, no, but
Yeah,
you know what? The league in the last couple of years, I feel like it has gone like there definitely towards skill, but the size, um, it's a different type of size. I don't know if
that's right.
you know what I mean. You're like they're more lanky, wiry, but they're
Yeah, yeah,
they're
yeah.
like I feel like you know our decor, we talked about struggling for years with respect to defense, right? When you look at it, and I'm definitely not a Peter Chiarelli fan, but back
Who is?
in in uh in 16, 17, we had a pretty decent defensive core. Like we had Clefbaum, we had Sekera, and then we had Nurse kind of coming up. All right.
Mhm.
We lost Clefbaum and we lost Sekera, right? Or Sekera, whatever you want to call him.
Yeah, yeah.
Those are two big pieces. That forced Nurse to play up a level probably a couple years before he should have,
Agree.
with Secker going down and then
Right.
Clefbaum, right? And all of a sudden we had like nothing on the left side, right? Um, I feel like we've done a pretty decent job, but I think that Secker injury and going back to Game 7, 2017 versus Anaheim, Brian Getzlaff, like 5 seconds after the puck leaves, he hits him and tears his ACL. Like I, I don't know, like those penalties, man. That was definitely a penalty in my opinion.
Such a bad luck with the oil and some massive injuries in the playoffs, like Sekera, and we talked about Rolly in the
Oh
oil
my
in
god.
the 06 round. Man, oh man. And now
So
we
what are
got
we gonna
Hyman
do with
just before the
with Hyman
finals.
now? What are we gonna do? Are we going to obviously you can't replace a guy like Hyman,
Yeah.
but are we gonna do what your friend Rob Brown thinks? Go 11-7?
I don't I don't know. I almost feel like they're saving at home for the finals to be nice and fresh and ready as much as he can be because like I was saying earlier, the matchups are different. I think Dallas is a really skilled team, not so much in terms of big size, although they have some size, but they're like you said, lanky. Florida's different. They've got some big guys up front. Like I mean, when you look at Barkov, he's a
They do,
giant.
and they're a lot like we think Dallas is coming out with some cheap shots and stuff. I mean, Florida's at a whole another level, right? They have
That's
like
right.
this carte blanche, right?
Chucky,
But
they've got the rat now. Man, oh man.
yeah, I'm not sure how I feel though. Honestly, I don't think we should go 11-7. I don't think you mess around with the D. The D's been great. If you're gonna make that move, I would say Stetcher goes out. Um, um, Ekholm
Ekholm
comes
comes in.
in.
Yeah, yeah.
The thing though is I do understand that let's say Ekholm can't go, right? Let's say something happens. You're not playing 5D for the rest of that game. But I also think you want to get him into at least one game. You don't want game one to be his
Yeah,
first game,
for
right?
sure. For
So
sure.
I do see him playing tomorrow. I don't know. Like I really don't like the tinkering with the D going 11-7. Um, but then who do we bring in on forward? Do you think Jeffrey would come in?
Oh man, we were joking about this earlier, but I really think that unless I don't know what needs to happen for him to draw in, I think the team is considering 11-7 before they actually let the poor guy play. I
Yeah.
don't know if he's that much of a. I know that the reasons why defensive liability and he likes to play. He's like he's an old dog. You're not going to teach him new tricks, although he's trying to be more responsible defensively. I think give him a shot. Give him a shot. when would you put him in? We're up 3-1 now against our
Yeah.
buddies in Dallas. Like, when are you going to give this guy a chance? Maybe he'll
Well,
come in and do some damage.
there's Rob Brown that seems to think that he will definitely not go in, and he said the same thing you said, that they're probably going to think about going 11-7 before he draws in. And then he also said, and Strudwick actually laughed at him because he was saying that what's his name, Matt? Is it Max Jones, right?
Yeah,
He's
Jones,
like Max Jones. He's like, I would consider, and I think Oilers would consider from a trust standpoint, putting Max Jones in ahead of him. And I was laughing a little bit, but I thought that wasn't a bad idea. If he's going to come in and run around and injure a few of these guys, maybe
Well, where's Noah Phelps in all of this? Why wouldn't you just make some adjustments and like we said earlier, move a couple of.
Well, that was
He's
the
played well.
realistic thing. Maybe bring
Yeah,
Phelps in.
yeah, and he's
I
good
mean, Phelps
defensively
can,
too, right? The
yeah,
guy hits. He's got
add
some
some speed.
elements of Hyman in him. You know what I mean?
He does, and I think that out of all of the guys that we have on the reserve roster, he's probably the one that could most fit in to Hyman's role. Although
Yeah.
he does not hit, but you could bring him in. You could move Janmark over, and then you could, I don't know, maybe you move Arvidsson up or something, right?
Right. And I mean, if you look at it, if we are if we close the series out tomorrow in Dallas, you're looking at Brown. If he is in the concussion protocol, like I kind of touched earlier, you're looking at next Monday, which is game 2 of the final at that stage. Or I'm not sure when the final would start.
No, I don't think so. I don't think so. I think we're going to get a week off, just like we
Oh
did
yeah,
last
yeah.
year, right? I don't
Okay,
think it's going to start right away
well then in that
because
case,
they
we
got
just
some
wait until
NBA
Brown
final
comes
stuff
in.
happening. I
Yeah.
think the NBA finals is starting like Thursday.
Oh
I
right,
don't think
right.
we're going to go head to head. They're probably going to talk
That's
about it. I
right.
don't think
That's
we
right.
want to. Maybe we might start Wednesday, but I think we're going to start Saturday, similar
Okay.
to what happened last year. Because Florida's got to get the scouting reports. They got to get the opportunity to talk to all the other coaches against that the Oilers played, and you need to watch all the film, get them ready, right?
Well,
That
there you
means
go.
Darvin's.
So Brown will be back at least by then, right? So we
Brown
should
will be
hopefully
back.
have Brown.
Hopefully, Brown will be back.
Yeah. So what are we looking
Um,
at? We're basically looking at really one player coming in
just
to
for a
replace
game.
Hyman. Yeah. Yeah.
For a game.
For a game.
We just need somebody coming in for a game. I mean, if Connor Brown does come back, Brown had some success on McDavid's wing towards the
Yeah.
end of the season. Granted,
Oh, for
his left
sure.
winger was Skinner, but it's going to be interesting to see. I'm not sure what's going to happen, but I guess we'll find out tomorrow morning.
That's yeah, I'm excited. What were the predictions last I said it's gonna go to OT, right? I thought it was
Yeah,
gonna be close. It wasn't.
I said it was going to be 4-2 or 4-3 type of a game.
Right.
What was the score? 4-1. Yeah,
I was right because it was like not 4-1 until like the last couple of minutes, really.
2-1.
Technically it was
Yeah.
overtime.
Well, yeah, technically 2 empty netters.
I'm worried
Um,
about tomorrow's game, man. If these guys go head hunting again, I'm just wondering who they're gonna go after this time. Who are they gonna injure?
well, I mean, the headhunting part, one thing, but we've got to move our feet. When we move our feet, we're attacking. We're very difficult to play against. We overwhelm
Yeah.
a lot of teams.
Yeah.
But why we came out in the first period and looked like that again, it took
Yeah.
a little while to get our legs going.
Yeah.
And I mean, for a big chunk of that game, we had one guy going, really. That was number 97, right?
Yeah. He drags
We got to
everybody
get
into
away
it,
from
man.
him.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm starting to see some parallels from last year. Like, are we running out of gas? What's going on?
No,
Right?
I don't think so. I don't think so. I feel let's give some credit where credit's due. I think Vegas really pushed hard. They knew how critical game 4 is. I mean, now they're up against the ropes, right? 3-1. They didn't want that.
Dallas,
Yeah,
you mean?
Dallas. Yeah, they came out and they really, really tried hard. And I was watching DeBoer afterwards, and they're they're at a complete loss for words of what else do we do? He's like, we played as well as we could. We had the chances we needed,
We just can't
and
get
he's
the
like,
lead.
yeah, and he's saying we need to come out even tougher, which means like he wants them to hit the Oil
Yeah.
even harder. But maybe as much as the Oil were a little bit slow, I think Dallas really came out pushing hard. They wanted to get the lead. They don't want to go down and chase from behind, and it happened
Fair
again.
enough. I think Dallas definitely did come out hard, but I think that we were counterpunching, right? Like counterattack.
Yeah.
I feel like the more that game, I mean, obviously the power play goal was huge, right? We got they got 2 penalties. They got 2 power plays before we got our first, right?
I would say I can't recall. Either you're right or we had one each, and then they got a second one and a third one. So I know that they got a couple very, very quick before we got one, and that's been the trend.
Was definitely not to par that game.
Yeah.
I feel like of any of the games, if you had a bone to pick, it would be that game.
Yeah.
With that said, though, I mean, we've won in very different ways throughout these playoffs. Last night, We had our power play clicking, right?
Which is
We
another
relied on the
deterrent.
power play.
That's another deterrent for Dallas to not run and gun or not try to hurt players, because that wasn't happening earlier, especially in Dallas. That was not happening at all in the power play for us. And
Yeah.
they took their liberties. They were like, there's no consequence. If we hit these guys and we get a penalty, so what? It's not clicking. Now they're going to think twice about hitting these guys and drawing a
Well, I
penalty,
mean,
right?
our power play is so Jekyll and Hyde, right? So we're crap on the road and we're like dynamite at home.
That's right. Over 50%.
So
Yeah.
yeah, so I mean, let's see. But what do you think? I feel like we have to. I like the tight play. I like the um, you know, the D men right off the wall and out, right off the wall and out, and we've got that guy high. They just haven't been able to solve that, but we need to keep pushing. We're probably gonna have to come out and weather the storm, right?
Yeah.
But do you think
Especially
we
in
can bring it
Dallas.
home? I mean, look
Yeah,
what happened to
I
us.
think so. I think one of the things we did, I noticed, and I think even one of the commentators after the game kind of touched on, which was really good to see, is that when we got the 2-1 lead and went into the third period, the team did not go into default defense mode. We were actually attacking
Yeah.
throughout until the end. That was
Your
new.
buddy in the morning was talking about that. What's that guy's name?
Sorry, who?
That Kevin, whatever the Oilers show in the morning. The hockey
Kevin
player.
Carrius, sure.
Yeah, the other guy.
Oh yeah, yeah.
What's his name?
His Kevin Carrius
Yeah,
in the
his
morning.
buddy.
Yeah.
Yeah, the other guy, the NHLer, the ex NHLer.
Oh,
He was like the
who
LA
did they have
Kings
there
need
on
to take.
today?
I forgot his
They have
name.
different. They have different guys on different days. I didn't listen today.
Anyways, he was saying
Schmelko.
that
Schmelko.
yeah, that guy. He was saying that that LA needs to take notes, right? When you're up in the third period, you don't sit back, you attack. We outshot him 8-1 at some point, right?
That's right. Yeah. Which is great. And I think that really helped the team. It kind of surprised Dallas as well, but they only had what, 4 shots in the final frame, and
Yeah, I
that's
mean they had
amazing.
one for the longest time, and then I
Yeah.
think they got another couple token courtesy shots after that. They're nothing really dangerous, right?
So what are your thoughts about next game? What do you think is going to happen? Any predictions?
I think we win. I
Yeah.
hope we win. I'm thinking it's going to be one of these kind of helter-skelter games like Game 6 versus LA. I think we win like 5-4 or 6-4 or something like that. If Connor Brown was there, I'd say we win 7-4 and he'd have 2 empty netters, but he's not in, so maybe we'll
Okay.
get 5-4.
So you think it's going to be run and gun? I think it's going to be, like you said earlier, it's going to be survive the first 10 minutes of the game for the Oil. Although I think that they do smell blood now, and I think that McDavid and Draisaitl are going to go for it. I don't want them to get away from their game. I think what they've been doing so far has worked. Like, just stay responsible, stay patient, wait for your chances. Uh, also want to see who they insert into the lineup, but I think it's going to be a little bit close again. I don't think it's going to be a blowout by any means. Might be a little bit of a higher score, like you said, but I still think it's going to be like a 4-3 or 3-2 kind of a game tomorrow.
You think we're going to win?
Oh
I
yeah,
think we're
look at
coming back.
you see that picture right there. I'm getting ready for that. But in the
Yeah.
white jerseys, of course.
Yeah, a friend of mine was thinking about taking his son to Game 6.
Yeah,
I just told him, don't worry about it. You can take your son to
nice.
Game 1. You can
That's
take him to
right.
Game 1. And he said, yeah, I like your thinking.
That's awesome.
Hopefully
Yeah.
pull it off. What do you think? What do you think is going to happen? 11-7? Is that what your call is? Ekholm back in?
I I think that they're probably going to put Ekholm in just to give him that game. He needs to get that game out of the way,
And
kind
they're
of
going
thing.
to put
Maybe,
him in.
yeah, not
But
play
are
a
they going
lot,
to go
but
11 and
put him in.
7? I'm 95% sure he's coming in.
Yeah.
The question I have is he going 11? Are they going 11 and 7, or are we going to have 12 and 6? Personally, like I said, I would prefer to have 12 and 6, but I do understand the 11 and 7. And as we're talking about this, I'm thinking, well, what if he's not good to go? You don't want to mess up the flow of the D. You can always double shift to forward, right?
Well, they did interview him, and he was like, "I'm ready to go." Like he was just flat out
Yeah.
saying, my body's good to go. I'm ready to go whenever
So he
they
felt
need me."
good, but he said the same thing
Yeah.
last time, and then he came in and tore
Oh,
something else.
yeah, he injured something.
Apparently, Levins was saying he has it on good authority that those two injuries were not the same. So
Oh, really?
he didn't re-aggravate anything. It was a new injury.
Oh,
So the
interesting.
other thing is 100% he's healed.
Interesting. Okay, well, I mean, good for him, but I do think he needs to get some reps. He needs to be in, like you said, if they win the
But how
game
much do you
tomorrow, it's a
tinker?
week,
Like
right?
how much do you tinker? Do you go Ekholm Bouchard? Do you mess up the pairings?
Well, where do you put him? What would you
I
do?
don't know.
I think Bouchard's
Ekholm and
good the way he
Nurse?
is. Leave Bouchard with Kulak. Don't mess it up. Kulak's
I
doing
think that's
great.
what you do. What
Yeah,
I would do, I would be like, yeah, Ekholm and Nurse.
yeah,
Put
yeah,
Nurse
yeah,
on the right side.
yeah. So he can set him straight. I mean, Nurse has been playing good. Like, he's not playing bad.
He
He's
has
doing
been,
great.
but I mean, I don't know if you really want to mess with Wallman and Klingberg, and I definitely don't think you want to mess with Bouchard and Bouchard Whisperer, right?
So it'll be Nurse and Ekholm then.
I would, they're not going to do that, but I would do that.
Yeah, yeah.
But then again,
Well,
I'm
we'll
not
find out.
three-time Norris winner Paul Coffey, right?
Yeah, I mean, if anything, tomorrow is the game where we can afford to kind of tinker with things a little bit. We're up 3 games to 1, right? And it's
Yeah,
coming back to Edmonton. Although you put them away when you can, but if there's an opportunity now to do it, now is the time to do it. Now
yeah.
would
If
be
you
the
want to mess
perfect time.
around and have a
Exactly.
training kind of game, you try
Yeah,
it. You try it in this game, right?
yeah, yeah,
You don't want to try it in game one of the Stanley Cup Finals, right?
yeah. And if it comes back to Edmonton, hey, more revenue for the Oilers organization. Why not?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So yeah, so close game tomorrow. I think, yeah, Ekholm draws in. I do think that we come out with a win. And then it's looks like it's Florida, man. They close out Carolina, and I mean Carolina
Let's not
try to
even
put up a
go
fight
there.
its own.
Let's not even go there. I have no words. I don't understand. These guys get 10 shots a game and they score like 5 goals a game. It's insane.
Well,
I'm so
it comes
disappointed
down
with
to
Carolina.
goaltending, right? It's always the goaltending, right? I mean, their D's playing okay, but to be honest with you, like watching the games, Florida versus Carolina, Florida's at a different level, man. Carolina's a good team. I think they're good. I almost feel they overachieved the way they took out,
They
they
can't.
took out Washington, right? But
Well, I mean, they beat New Jersey and they beat
but New Jersey
Washington.
was battered. New Jersey
Yeah, they
was
were.
bad. They didn't have the
There's
top
a lot of
players,
people
right?
that are saying that Carolina gives you the same game in game one as they do in game 82, all the
Right.
way through. They can't elevate. Florida's able to elevate. Florida
Yeah.
has more game breakers. Maybe that's why they went out and got Rantanen because they thought he would be their game breaker.
Yeah.
And now he's breaking games for Dallas right now. Touch
Yeah.
wood, he breaks another one, right?
Yeah. Yeah. He goes through hills and valleys, that guy too, right? He's really, really streaky. He's either really good or he just completely goes quiet like he has. I want to credit the Oilers though. I don't really think that it's so much what he's doing because
He's
last
been
game
playing
he was
pretty
very
good. I
active.
think they
Yeah,
just have not given him anything, right?
exactly. So I'm going to give credit to the Oil and shutting him down, but I think that when it comes to Florida, they're just a different level team. All 4 lines are going. They're all pretty healthy,
Let's
although I know
let's
Chucky's not doing great, right?
well, Reinhardt was in today, so was McAllar, McKay, whatever that other guy's name, Nico, whatever the guy's name is. Um, let's not get too ahead of ourselves. Focus on
Yeah,
what's in front of us.
yeah, yeah,
One
yeah.
more win. We'll chat more. After, if we win tomorrow, we'll talk more about Florida.
Sounds good.
But yeah, let's just stay focused here and not tempt the hockey gods, right?
Sounds like a plan, buddy. We've got our predictions. Fingers
All right,
crossed.
man.
Let's
Obviously, we'll
bring
be
this home.
watching tomorrow,
Yeah,
and yeah, we'll hopefully we're celebrating after the game.
sounds good, man. Chat to you soon,
Right.
buddy. Okay.
Cheers. Take care.
All right.
Bye.